Hey everyone. Hi everybody, beautiful people. So it's Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern time. I'm still ahead of you. You guys will join me an hour forward very soon. I can't wait. It's going to be it's going to be easier. Hey Rasha. So today I'm super excited. I'm talking about a topic that I'm really passionate about. It's why restriction will never serve you, basically, to reach your health goals. And this is a really important topic that hey gorgeous, that I talk about in all my coachings, because we need to understand how our body works in order to be able to work with it, right? So for those of you who are new on my page and are there for the first time, I'm Claudine. I'm a nutrition and productivity coach. I link both together because in order to be performant and productive in your life, you need to have a really strong nutrition and healthy habits. So in my lives, I always talk about topics that are related, how to empower you in terms of your nutrition and your health in order for you to feel great about yourself. And I specialize also with people that are really busy and overwhelmed with their lives, which is a lot of us. And I want to make sure that you guys, despite this crazy life, you can empower your health and optimize it on a daily basis. So today, why is restriction a no-no? First off, I want to start saying that this week is the Eating Disorder Awareness Week. And it's really important that we talk about it, because even though you haven't suffered from an eating disorder, we're all at risk of developing at one point or another, not necessarily a diagnosed eating disorder, but it could also be a distorted or disordered eating, meaning that we take sometimes some nutritional advice or trends just a little bit too far, to the point where it's affecting our health and it's not serving us and it's not helping us anymore, and it's doing the opposite completely, and it's actually having really negative consequences on our health. So I think it's worth mentioning this week that we're all at risk of having one, whether you're a man or woman, different ages as well. And it's important also, if you're a parent, to model what healthy eating is and get informed about it, because our kids are literally doing whatever we're gonna do. Monkey see, monkey do. And so we have to be good models for them. And I think it's important that we empower ourselves as parents in order to make sure that future generations have healthier ways of eating, and also choosing their food for their best health, basically. So what restriction and avoidance do to your brain? This is like something that is really important to understand, because the minute that we start saying no to certain foods and we just start avoiding it for whatever reason, because you think it's not good for you, because you think that it's a fattening food, which, by the way, doesn't exist. All foods can be part of a healthy nutrition. It's just about how often and how much you're going to eat that will determine whether it is helping in your nutrition or it is not. So just make sure that you don't label food, because there's no such thing as a bad or a good food. Obviously, there are higher quality foods on the market. Obviously, if you're having a fresh fruit or fresh veggies, they will empower your nutrition. They will be of higher quality compared to a pack of Skittles, which are my favorites, and that are made only from simple sugars that will be digested and used as energy or stored as fat if you're not using it. But at the end of the day, it's not a few Skittles that will kill me. It's not a few Skittles in my healthy diet and active lifestyle that will determine whether or not I'm going to reach my goal or maintain my health or not. Okay? So every food can contribute to your health. And the minute that you start restricting, whether it's carbs or proteins or fats, like I said, for whatever reason, you've heard something, you read something about this food, you were told that this food group is not good for your digestion. We're all unique. So always take a step back and look at the information that was provided to you, but don't necessarily go all the way into restriction and avoidance, because there are a cascade of effect in your body and emotionally also that will happen, and that will actually not help you on the long run. So there are two things happening when you start restricting and avoiding foods. There's a physiological impact, so really like bodily wise, something happens to you. And there's also an emotional part to it. So you start having certain behaviors because of how it triggers you emotionally. So first off, let's start with the physiological part of it. Foods are your brain cells and all of your other muscle cells fuel. You need food in order to fuel your body. And all of them, whether they're carbs or protein or fat, they serve you in different ways. So you need them at one point or the other. And it's not just two of them, it's all of them. So specifically, if you think about the brain, it fuels mainly on glucose. And glucose come from the carbs that we're eating. So we're eating, let's say, a piece of bread, or we're eating a fruit, or we're eating dairy with some lactose in it, which is the sugar in it. And so once it's being digested, it becomes glucose in your system, and your brain loves that energy. It just fuels on it constantly. So if you're on a low carb diet, or you're completely avoiding certain food groups, your brain is being deprived from its main source of energy if you're not able to compensate enough with the other food groups that do contain carbs. Does that make sense? And so it's really important not to restrict or avoid certain foods in that sense, because you never know what your body needs at a certain time, and maybe you have no idea how the different organs in your body use these different types of energy in order to function properly. And let's be clear, your brain is a vital organ. If it doesn't work properly, everything else falls apart because it's your main computer. So if your main computer is not working properly because it's lacking of energy, how do you want to direct and supervise and manage and lead every other function in your body? It doesn't make sense. And so today, that's why I use the brain as an example, because it's our main operating system, okay? Of course, to shed fat, we need to create a calorie or energy deficit, of course. But there's a difference between restricting your body from what it actually needs to fulfill its vital functions and maintain a certain amount of activity on a daily basis, and restricting to a certain level that your body's still getting everything it needs in order to function properly during the day. And sometimes this line is very, very thin. So you have to be careful with what you're doing. And this is why there is no one fit all solution in any type of nutrition coaching. Everything has to be customized to your metabolism and your body needs. And this is why I always talk about customization. Guys, you are unique. Different gender, different height, different age, different needs, different physical activity level, different muscle mass. We all need a different amount of energy. And we all need the macronutrients, which are the carbs and proteins and fats that I was talking about, in different proportions according to what your lifestyle is, and according to your stress level, and according to your sleep pattern, etc., etc., etc. So you know where I'm going now, is that you cannot just get to a point where you just get rid of certain food groups and expect that everything will happen magically. It doesn't. So just make sure that there is a threshold that you never go below, and that you understand what your body needs in order to meet these needs and fulfill what you're fulfilling in terms of energy and nutrition, what your body actually asks for and begs you for. Okay? Energy is meant to help with many more functions, also such as memory, your kidneys, your liver. So like I said, it's your main operating system is your brain, but everything else falls into place once the brain is functioning properly. Also, remember that when you're starving of certain food, whether it's just like energy wise, you're not eating enough, or you're really avoiding certain types of food that are high energy for whatever reason, you become not only hungry, you become hangry. That happens to me all the time. If I don't eat regularly enough, whether because I was too busy or I'm not on top of my shit that day, well, what happens is I really become like hangry, get out of my way, I need to eat, and I can't focus anymore. And I know this happens to everyone. Why? Simply because you're depriving your body from the energy that it needs. It's a simple way of your body telling you, hey, like, I need more. Exactly, Rasha. Hangry. I'm telling you. It's a thing. It's not even fiction. So it's important that you listen to what your body is telling you. I'm telling you, nutrition and productivity are linked. If your body cannot be productive, it's lacking something. It's telling you, hey, I'm missing something, and we need to take a step back right now, take a break, and go eat something. All right? When you're restricting and avoiding physically, it's forcing your body into survival mode. There is an interesting article I came across this morning, which is about the set point theory, which is a very well-known theory in terms of weight management, but it was particularly very well explained. And I think I'm actually going to use that topic for our next live. But what I want to share about this particular concept and what I explain all the time is that once you restrain your body from receiving something, it will go into survival mode and it will try to keep it rather than let go. So for example, if your goal is to shed fat, you can't just start avoiding and restricting fat or any type of energy that could potentially transform into fat storage in your body if you're not using it. You have to give more to your body in order for your body to get the signal, hey, I'm getting everything that I need on a daily basis. I do not have to worry. I do not have to protect myself and go into survival mode. And I can just let go of whatever is not serving me. And most of the time, what is not serving us in our body composition is the fat tissue. If you're overweight or your body percentage is too high. So you have to trust that your body is a very, very smart, intelligent machine. It knows what it needs. It knows what it doesn't. And if you do your job of providing in terms of good nutrition, enough and in quality, it will just optimize the whole thing. So now let's get to the emotional part. When you restrict and or avoid certain food, it has a huge impact on our behaviors, whether it's short term or on the long run. And sometimes most of the time, it will be about the Cookie Monster, the famous binge eating. In theory, binge eating is thousands of calories over what we actually need. But socially, when we discuss about the Cookie Monster, we'll talk about binge eating in a way that I just barely ate over, like during the day. I clearly didn't eat enough. Went home and just curled up on my couch and started eating and eating and eating. Like you would want to eat the walls. And we all do that at one point or the other. Even me. So what's important to understand is that this lack of energy, the fact that you restricted yourself, or the fact that you avoided certain food, is definitely having an impact on your actual behaviors. And the more you're going to feed into that pattern, the more it's going to be hard for you to get rid of these behaviors on the long run, because you're programming your body to always bounce back and bounce back and bounce back. And obviously, the more you restrict or avoid food, the more you're going to crave it, right? So an example that I often use in my coaching is, let's say we're back to being kids again, and we're being put in a room with a toy, and we're told not to play with that toy. We can watch it, we can just see it, but we can't touch it, we can't play with that toy. all we'll want to do is to actually play with that toy, right? We'll be obsessed with wanting to touch the toy, try it, and play with it, and we won't be able to take our mind off of it. If on the opposite, we're being told, hey, you know what? Play with that toy as much and as long as you want. It's all yours. It's just a matter of time before we actually stop playing with it and we're satisfied. We're not really being all focused on it and obsessed about it anymore. And it's the same thing with food. The more you resist something that you crave, the more you're going to become obsessed about it, and you'll just think about it all day long. I'm pretty sure that happens to you. And so it's about including that food regularly until you're fully satisfied and you don't crave it anymore. And it's not a thing anymore in your life. And it can be part of a balanced nutrition. That's it. It's really, really simple. So it's all about balance at the end of it. I'm not suggesting to go all in and being in major abundance every day. You have to be in abundance, but in a moderate abundance, meaning that it's always about moderation. It always comes down to this. And like I said, there's no right or wrong food. It's really about everything that you do on a daily basis. And it's not just about the food that you eat. It's also how you move, how much you move, how you sleep, how much you sleep, if you're stressed, how you manage your stress. Those factors all work together in order to optimize your health. There's a really good example. I want to finish with that. The Okinawan people, who are the people who live the longest, on average they live for about 100 years old. They have the habit of eating only until they are about 80% full. So they don't eat like when they're completely full and they can't take it anymore. They will eat to satisfaction. They know they could eat a little bit more, but they're good. They're going to stop about at 80% of their fullness. And it's thought to be one of their secrets for their extraordinary health and longevity. So it's not about being full, it's just about being satisfied. And the moment that you're satisfied, your body is satisfied, you're emotionally satisfied as well, and your body can function properly and can just let go of what it doesn't need and hold on to what it needs. There's no magic, it's just how our body works. So I don't know if you have any questions. Hopefully that was useful and interesting. If you have any comments, I'll be reading them afterwards. The video will be available for 24 hours. Thank you so much for being there, and I'll see you next week. Have a great day. Bye.